Hey y'all, hey, happy Mother's Day. How are y'all doing? I decided I would go ahead and go live since there was like a little bit of breaking news today. I won't have the full story though until tomorrow. So I'm going to jump right into this little quick snippet to let you know what exactly is happening in case you don't know. There possibly may have been a hey, how are you, Auntie? Happy Mother's Day to everyone as you enter. Um, there possibly may have been a deal made between China and the US. We know that last week there was a small deal made between the UK and the US, but the major one we were looking for is the one between China and the US. Now, China has not said anything substantial. The White House really hasn't said anything substantial. They're both saying they're going to speak on it tomorrow on Monday. So I will definitely have a video for y'all tomorrow as far as what the deal entails. The main question though is hold on, I'm trying to share this with y'all. The main question is what will this do for the empty shelves that some of us are starting to see? Some of us will start to see in a couple of weeks. Are we going to see those empty shelves or not? Like I said before in other videos, that damage has been done. Doesn't mean it can't be undone, but that damage has been done. Because as I've shown you, the ports aren't really delivering a lot out of the US ports right now. And you've seen what it looks like at the China ports with things just container crunch, just loading up, stacking up on top of each other, ships not moving, etc. So in order for those ships to move, we got to see what this deal is tomorrow. And as soon as I get it, I'm definitely going to go live and let you know what it is, what it's all about, what they're now saying, etc. But I do have reminders to let you know this does not change the fact that there will be empty shelves in a matter of weeks. That does not change because nothing's moving right now. So what happened today, it says the White House touted a China trade deal on Sunday without providing details after two top U.S. officials alluded to a potential agreement with China following talks between the two countries in Switzerland over the weekend. So nobody really wants to say, because for one, it was all about who's going to stand down first. China didn't want to stand down, neither did the U.S. So U.S. announces China trade deal in Geneva. That was the transcript and how it read. Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer's remarks to reporters. Bessent and Greer had struck an optimistic tone regarding the state of potential trade agreement with China. Again, I say potential, noting that the administration would provide additional details on Monday during the press conference briefing that morning. So hopefully before 12 o'clock, we'll know something as to what was going to happen, because just Friday, Trump tweeted out on his Truth social media that, 80% sounds good. That sounds like a good deal. And so when people questioned the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she said, oh, that's just the number that he was throwing out there. So we won't know for sure until tomorrow. But some type of deal has been made. Now, whether or not it's going to lower drastically that 245% tariff in some areas and 145% in other areas, if it's going to lower that enough, I don't know. But we shall see. So, because China said they weren't going to make a deal unless they took that off the board. So hopefully that's what happened and things can start to reset itself. And it's going to take a while for things to reset itself. So let's go over here. I hope y'all had a good weekend, though, for real. Let's see if this is it right here.
Let's take a beat, really frame it for us. How much volume has just dropped off in the last few weeks?
Yeah, about a third of.
Okay, so This is about what would happen if the tariffs were, turned back around and, we're good. So it says 1/3 of all shipments to the U.S. have stopped. Shelves will start emptying in the next 2 weeks, even if Trump canceled the tariff. So even if this deal that's going to come out tomorrow says that, okay, we're back on, the ships can move, yada, 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 we're still going to have these empty shelves. They said it would take a month for goods to start flowing the way they were flowing because of the whole route that they have to take and how long it takes for that shipment to get from China to the U.S.
The import volume, which means give or take about 50,000 20-foot equivalent units gone off the arrivals coming in next week.
From next week is when you expect to see this really hit.
That's correct. And that matches up. The announcement's back on April 2nd. Then on April 8th, a little bit of a change on everybody ex-China, Mexico, Canada. And those arrivals are coming at us this weekend.
We'll, of course, dedicate time to your port, but I'm just wondering how you're anticipating this rolls and ripples through the economy from here, how it hits trucking, when this turns up on the shelf. What's the distance, the time from when you see a drop-off in volume and when we, as consumers, see the shortages?
Right. So CEOs are telling me, hit the pause button. Right. I'm not going to import anymore at these kind of prices. Let's wait and see. I don't know if it's going to be 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks till I get some clarity. Then hiring off the table for right now. Capital investment, pause. And the retailers are telling me that realistically, with even the 10%, I'm going to have to pass it on to the consumers.
So how much is this?
So are you going to see prices still increase? With that statement that he just made, breaking it down, I say yes, because even if these tariffs are dropped from 145 or 245, depending on the sector of where it is, even if it's dropped back down, there's still that 10%. Even if it's dropped down to the 10%, what he's saying is businesses are telling him that's still going to be a lot for them to pay up front. And for them to pay it up front, that means the consumer is going to get that price increase. So it really is not going to matter. It's going to matter some and a lot to others, because smaller businesses really cannot afford that 145 or that 245 tariff, sending their inventory out the yin yang. Even if they make their product here in the US, they're still paying way too much for the components to make it. So even with the 10%, it's going to be too costly. Like I said, the damage pretty much has been done. It can be decreased, but by how much we'll determine that tomorrow.
It's really coming from all over. It's not just about China. This is about really global trade coming to a standstill until there is a much greater degree of certainty and a much lower tariff rate than even the baseline that's been put out there.
Yeah, when I was last with you all, Lisa, I said global trade's going to slow, economies will follow, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Back in November, so many of us were wringing our hands about 4% inflation. We've just added 10 percentage points to imports coming out of Southeast Asia for our port, and these unbelievable numbers out of China.
How much are you going to see a real decline in dock workers if this goes on?
Yeah, this is the question. So the trucker hauling 4 or 5 containers today, next week, she probably hauls 2 or 3. The dock workers are no longer going to see overtime and double shifts. They're going to probably work less than a traditional work week, starting right off the bat. Every 4 containers mean a job. So when we start dialing this back, it's less job opportunities.
And what happens if we get a deal?
If we get a deal, it's going to take about a month. Let me walk you through that real quick. About 2 weeks.
Back up. This is where we are now. If we get a deal, this is his explanation of what's going to happen. So tomorrow, keep this in mind when y'all hear it, whether you hear it from me or whether you hear it from other news, I don't care. When you hear it, note what he is saying. Even if we get a deal, this is what's going to happen.
It's less job opportunities.
And what happens if we get a deal?
If we get a deal, it's going to take about a month. Let me walk you through that real quick. About 2 weeks to get the ships repositioned around these major ports, from Qingdao to Shanghai to Xiamen, load up all those containers, and then another 2 weeks to steam across the Pacific to get to us. This is important because now we're talking about spring and summer fashion.
Spring and summer. Let's not forget fall, because they start those things early when they're getting items in. They don't get fall in fall. They get fall in summer. They get fall in spring. They get winter in summer. So the prices are going to be up.
So we're kind of at a crux here that we've got to have something pretty quick.
And back to school, which is going to be, I think, very critical when it comes to political pushback for this administration. We have a story out, it was anecdotal reporting as well. We've heard about China quietly starting to exempt about a quarter of U.S. imports. Are any U.S. importers exempting Chinese tariffs? Is there a way to get around the 145%?
Not really. There may be some exceptions, Anne-Marie, maybe a little bit going north or south of us. But realistically speaking, nobody is out there talking a lot about, hey, I got a better deal coming out of China right now.
The Flexport CEO joined us earlier in the week, and he said ocean freight is down 60% from China. When do we see 100%?
Good question. It depends on how long this goes. We heard the reports overnight through Bloomberg that the folks in China are thinking about talking. What does that mean? Okay, great. But we've got to get a move on here. The other thing is that retailers are saying we've got about 5 to 7 weeks of normal inventory in the country right now. Then we start to see spot shortages if it goes on much beyond this.
Just describe.
So that would help. That spot shortage is what we're seeing right now. I haven't personally seen heavy shortage. I've seen some empty shelves for sure, but it's not like it's the whole store or whatever. Maybe other people are seeing more. If this goes on, depending on what they say tomorrow, matters. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I just wanted to come to y'all and let y'all know it's a little bit of good news, but uncertain news at the same time. I don't want to hide and sugarcoat and say, well, it's just going to be empty shelves. I want you to know that agreements are being talked. Finally, that's the biggest thing, because nobody wanted to talk to the other, because nobody wanted to come off looking weak. China definitely didn't want to come off looking weak. And the president didn't want to back down from what he, slated. So that's what's happening. I wanted to keep you abreast of that. And whatever happens tomorrow, we'll be back on. I hope this was news you can use. Definitely hit that like button if you want to stay informed and have other people be informed. That will help push the video out. It is free. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay in the know, and turn on your notifications, because when it's a busy news day, I do post more than one video a day. If you are new here, thank you for being here. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. I appreciate all of y'all for supporting the channel, and also being patient with me, because I didn't do a video yesterday. Yesterday my son graduated. I wanted to come on, but I was like, no, I'm just going to take the day. I'm just going to take the day. I actually was going to take today as well. But then when I saw this, I was like, no, I can't hold this back, because the news is going to come out tomorrow. They need to know now that, this is what might be happening. And it is good news depending on what comes out of it. So thank y'all for coming in. I appreciate each of y'all for coming in. Yeah, we're going to see what these shelves look like. Hey, JR, how are you? Welcome in. And happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of y'all. Hey, Cooking with Pam. At Pam, how are you today? How are you today? Thank you for the Mother's Day text you sent me. I appreciate it. I cut my trip short. We were at Myrtle Beach. I cut it short. One, it was raining anyway. And I knew they were having a dinner in Columbia, South Carolina. And she was in town. And I was like, I got to see my mom, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Listen, I hugged my mama. I could not let go. Next thing I know, I was boo-hooing. Every time somebody hugged me, sister, brother, whatever, I was like boo-hooing. And it was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I didn't realize how much I miss all of y'all until I saw everybody in the room, cousins and aunt, you know, my last aunt, living aunt on my mom's side. I'm like, oh my God. It just felt like home. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like home. I didn't even want to come home after that, but you know, had to come home. And now I'm here with y'all, and I appreciate the love and support. I feel the hugs from y'all and the love from y'all, and it means so very much. I'm tearing up now. I told my husband, because I left him at his mama's house when I went to go meet them at the restaurant. And he was like, how did it go? And I was like, man, I cried like a baby. He's like, it's because you cry all the time like a baby. I'm just cry so easily. I don't know if that's the Libra in me. I don't know, because I could be feisty too. But I'll just cry like a baby. And it just felt so good. And I talked to her today, and I was just, you know, still missing her and stuff. But I thank y'all for coming in, listening to me, Jaw Jack, and listening to, you know, the news that you can use. And I will definitely see y'all tomorrow. So I'm gonna have to be, even though I don't want to watch the news, I'm gonna have to be watching the news in the morning just to see what the agreement was, so that I can come to you guys and let you guys know what exactly does it mean for us, basically. You know, once I figure out what it means for us, that's when I'm gonna come on here and talk to y'all and see what y'all think as well. And I'll see y'all in the morning, okay? Y'all hug on your loved ones, stock up your shelves, and don't just be stocking food. Stock your water, stock your first aid kits. My daughter just came in here and ransacked my first aid kit because she baked me a cake. I came home and she had baked me a cake, but she burnt her hand in the process. So she was looking for the first aid kit, which she know I keep them throughout the whole house. You're going to find one somewhere. But she was looking for the actual burn kit that I keep in it. So get those things together, because you never